We're always taught that to have influence, you have to speak up. What if the exact opposite is true? What if real power in any conversation doesn't come from what you say, but what you don't say? Most people lose control not because they're weak, because they just talk way too much.
Think about it. Every single time you open your mouth, you are right on the edge of just handing over your leverage. You're not really losing conversations, you're literally giving them away. Let's break down how you can stop giving your power away and instead start owning every single room you walk into.
We've all been sold this really dangerous lie, that the more you talk, the more influence you have. That if you just explain your point a little better, or argue a little harder, or just speak a little bit louder, you'll win. Nope, that is exactly how you lose.
Let's look at this contrast, because this is key. You think you're building a solid case. You're explaining, you're arguing, you're winning. With every extra word, you're actually leaking critical information. You're leaking your intentions, your emotions. Worst of all, you're leaking your need for their approval. The second they sense that neediness, they stop listening to your words, they start reading you like a book.
That's the whole game right there. Real power belongs to the person who doesn't feel the need to prove anything. The person who can just sit back in silence and let you reveal everything about yourself.
That brings us to our first technique. I'll warn you, this is where it gets a little uncomfortable. We need to start thinking of silence not as just emptiness, as a strategic, active pressure. It's like an invisible weapon.
Here's a little experiment I want you to try. The very next time someone asks you a question, fight every instinct you have to answer right away. Instead, just pause. Look at them. Let the silence stretch for just a second longer than feels comfortable. In that tiny moment of silence, a fascinating psychological shift happens. The pressure is no longer on you to give an answer. All of a sudden, it's all on them. The reaction is almost always the same. Just watch them. You'll see their eyes start to dart around. Their posture will shift a little. Their brain just goes into overdrive, thinking, oh, did I say something wrong? Are they judging me? Just to break the tension that they've created in their own head, they start talking again. They'll rephrase the question, they'll over-explain, they'll start offering up information you didn't even ask for, all because they are desperate to fill that void that you created. Here's the key takeaway. Your silence forces them to expose themselves. You didn't have to say a single word. You just created a space. They walked right into the trap. So let's take this up a level. You don't need a flood of words to be in control. In fact, sometimes all you really need is one single, perfectly placed question to unlock absolutely everything.
The process here is almost deceptively simple. First, you just ask one precise, open-ended question. Something like, what was your intention behind that? Or, what made you do that? Then, this is the absolute most important part, you stop talking. You go completely silent. You just wait. What you've just done is create what's called a conversational vacuum. If there is one thing that human nature absolutely hates, it is a vacuum. People feel this overwhelming psychological need to fill that empty space. They'll do it by talking, often revealing their motives, their insecurities, things they never ever intended to share. Remember that. You don't have to interrogate somebody to get information. You just have to ask the right question, and then have the discipline to shut up and listen. Now, here's a really subtle twist that most people completely miss. Effective control doesn't actually feel like control to the other person. When you do it right, it feels like comfort. It feels like you understand them. Look at this method. It's all about being strategically quiet. After they've talked, you just use these minimal, gentle affirmations. A simple, I understand, or that makes sense. Then, you go quiet again. What this does is incredible. Their entire defensive posture just melts away. They feel heard, not interrogated. Once someone feels truly understood, they stop protecting themselves. That's the real secret. You're not dominating them, you are creating a safe space that you are in complete control of. They're basically handing you the keys to the kingdom because you made them feel heard. So what happens when things get heated? In any high-stakes, emotional conversation, there is one simple, unbreakable rule. The calmest person in the room is always the most powerful person in the room. This right here, this is your playbook. When they escalate, you do the exact opposite. If their voice gets higher, you consciously lower yours. If they start talking faster, you slow your speech down. While they're getting totally swept up in the chaos of their emotion, you remain a point of absolute calm. You become their anchor, whether they realize it or not. Please, don't ever mistake being calm for being weak. It is the ultimate display of emotional control.
By refusing to meet their energy, you dictate the entire dynamic of the interaction. They feel unstable, while you appear completely untouchable.
When you start to consistently apply all these principles, the strategic silences, the targeted questions, the calm demeanor, something truly amazing happens. The entire dynamic just flips.
Here are the signs that you've taken complete control. They'll start over-explaining things completely unprompted. They will work to fill every single moment of silence because they're now deeply uncomfortable with it. They'll find themselves trying to impress you. They'll start looking to you, the quietest person in the room, for your approval.
The power has completely shifted. You are no longer chasing them for information or for validation. They are now chasing you. You're just watching, deciding when to speak and when to stay silent.
That really is the central truth of this entire explainer. True control comes from a position of needing nothing from the other person. Not their approval, not their agreement, not even their words. The moment you need less, you control more.
I'll just leave you with this question. Think about the conversations you've had recently. Have you ever seen someone use these techniques, maybe without even realizing what they were doing? Or have you ever been on the receiving end of this kind of powerful silent control? It's a fascinating and sometimes unsettling dynamic once you know what to look for.